At the end of the 18th century, Marianne, a painter, teaches an art class in France. One of her students asks about her painting, which Marianne calls Portrait de la jeune fille en feu. Years previously, Marianne arrived on a distant island in Brittany. She has been commissioned to paint a portrait of a young woman of the gentry named Hélose, who will be married to a Milanese nobleman. Marianne is informed by Héloise's mother, the Countess, that she has previously refused to pose for portraits as she does not want to be married. She had been living in a convent before the suicide of her older sister necessitated her return and her betrothal. Marianne acts as Héloise's hired companion to be able to paint her in secret. She accompanies her on daily walks along the rugged coastline to memorize Héloise's features. Marianne finishes the portrait but cannot betray Héloise's trust and reveals her reason for arriving. After Héloise criticizes the painting, which does not seem to portray her true nature, Marianne destroys the work. After seeing the destroyed work, Marianne explains her actions to the Countess, saying she can create a better painting. Héloise says she will pose for Marianne as the Countess prepares to fire Marianne. The Countess is shocked to hear this and gives Marianne 5 days to complete the new portrait while on the mainland. Marianne is haunted throughout the house by visions of Héloise in a wedding dress. One evening, they read the story of Orpheus and Eurydice and debate why Orpheus turns around to look at his wife, causing her to be returned to the underworld. Later, the two go to a bonfire gathering where women sing, during which Héloise's dress briefly catches fire. The next day, Marianne and Héloise share their first kiss and have sex later that night. The pair spend the next few days together, during which their romance grows stronger, and they help Sophie, the housemaid, have an abortion. With their affair about to be cut short by the ensuing return of the Countess, Marianne sketches a drawing of Héloise to remember her by. Héloise asks Marianne to draw a nude sketch of herself on page 28 of her book. The Countess approves of the now completed portrait, and the following day Marianne bids farewell. As she is about to leave the house, she hears Héloise say, "Turn around." She turns and sees Héloise in her wedding dress. In the present, Marianne reveals that she saw Héloise 2 more times. The first was a portrait at an art exhibition. Héloise, with a child beside her, is portrayed holding a book and secretly revealing the edge of page 28. The second time was at a concert in Milan, where she noticed Héloise among the patrons seated in the balcony across the theater from her. Unobserved, Marianne watches as Héloise, overwhelmed with emotion, is brought to tears listening to the orchestra, playing the presto from Summer in Vivaldi's Four Seasons, the music that Marianne had played for her on a harpsichord years before.